Hi, everybody. Today we have Christian Brown. We met at Paris Blockchain Week in April, and since then we've sort of stayed in touch, sort of not stayed in touch, but I always knew that I had to get him on the podcast, and that is something that we actually talked about
Yes,
back then.
yeah, I
Like,
remember.
Christian, I need to bring you on a show that it doesn't exist right now, but it will in the future, but I want to talk to you, man.
Look at it, you just manifested it, and
I
now here
mean,
we
bring it
are.
on.
That's amazing.
Where's this coming from? And
Yeah,
yeah, and who are you? Let's start off with
let's start with
that.
that. Yeah, I love that. So my name is Christian, and I'll keep it very simple. I feel like my purpose on this earth is to help people find happiness in their struggle, and right now I'm doing that, or trying to accomplish that through a platform called Blimish. And Blimish
Mhm,
is on a mission to revolutionize the world's view of mental health and therapy. And so I kind of got to this stage just through a bunch
mhm,
of trial and error, a bunch of failures, traumas,
mhm.
and some successes too. And so when I was in college, I kind of went through this transformation in life where I had to face the question, like an existential question, why am I here? What's my purpose? Why do I exist? Because I found myself, uh, getting in a lot of trouble, like in my early
Mhm.
20s,
Right.
dealing with a lot of depression, anxiety, and I just felt like I didn't have a place on the world in this world, and so it led to me just trying to fit into different crowds. And funny story, on my birthday, my
Mhm.
my 19th birthday, I was a freshman in college, and I found myself hanging with the party throwers and drug dealers in that crowd. And so I threw a party for my 19th birthday, and I ended up getting arrested. And
Oh,
that kind of
okay.
just like started the shift in my life, because I had to
Mhm.
go to jail on my 19th birthday, and I was thinking to myself, this is not what I want. Like, I don't know what I want in life, but I know this is not it. And so like a year or two later, I ended up just taking a step back, taking a break from school, and really going down a journey of self-discovery. And there was this quote that I learned during that time that really changed my life. It said, formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. Right. And
Mhm.
when I heard that, I wasn't just thinking about the monetary gain. I was thinking about just like the spiritual wealth, and the happiness that could
Wow.
come from that.
Mhm. Yep.
Uh, and so through that journey, I ended up, diving into personal development by just reading books, learning about,
Mhm.
and studying philosophers, um, and really just obsessing over personal development. And through that came a introduction to entrepreneurship and
Mhm.
podcasting.
Yes, you've also been doing that. And I saw one
Yeah,
of those and I was like, man, he is like a powerhouse. And you really are, Chris, because I remember meeting you and I know that energy still, is coming
yeah.
through this. And it's the same way like we met physically. Dude, you have this thing about you. You just have it. And it's amazing the way you bring people together without knowing them. And you
Mm,
sort of, like have this deep conversation with everybody that you're just
yeah.
around. And you're like, how do you do that? Like, what is this? And it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's beautiful because I experienced that myself when we had a conversation, and I saw you doing that with other people too. And I'm like, it's not even like
Mm,
it's effortless. It's effortless
wow.
with you for some reason, and it's
Wow.
beautiful. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that you're doing what you're doing, and you're on a mission that you are. I would really want to go back to something that you mentioned just now, finding happiness in your struggles. That
Yeah.
is a very, very big statement. So I would really want to understand, like, where is this even coming from to begin with, and
Hmm.
how do you do that?
Yeah, 100%. So it came from the whole idea came from a trip that I took to Africa in
Mhm,
2017. Around this time while I was trying to find myself, I was able to travel a lot. And through traveling, I really discovered, I think, this gift of just like charisma and really an understanding that there's a universal language that everybody in the world understands,
yep.
regardless of like race, age, you know,
Yes.
financial status, and that language is love, right? Everybody wants to feel love. Everybody wants to experience that. And so for me, I try my best to just live with love. And so I think that's what that energy is. Like that energy that you talk about is really love, right? Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, and so back to the trip to Africa, I saw something that changed my life. I just saw people who were living in some of the most impoverished situations, but had the biggest smiles on their faces. And so I thought to myself, if people out here can live like this and be happy, then why is anyone where I lived at the time in America, why is anybody here ever like sad or angry? right? And I realized that everybody struggles in some way, but the true peace comes from finding happiness in that struggle.
Wow. And another key thing to note here is because I recently went to this art exhibition and it was all about you never know what anybody else is struggling with. You never know other people's struggles. And it literally showed like different people who looked differently, had different lives, but they sort of, united on this main idea and message, which was that I have a struggle and you are going through one as well, but we're going through the same thing, but still it's very different, right?
Yeah.
So it's really, really beautiful. And I mean, again, to each their own, the struggles are different for everybody. The way you cope with them is different. Coping mechanisms are very different, for everyone. But I think over here, I would really want to dive further into, the platform as well that you're trying to create in order to create an impact for, people around the world. So where does this come into play and why is it in the metaverse? That's also one of the questions that I had. And, where do you plan to go with this, basically?
Yeah. And so I love that you said that, the art exhibit showed that people just have different struggles, but it's key to note that you aren't alone in your struggle. And I think the initial thought for creating a metaverse platform was just this vision of seeing the metaverse as a medium for global human expression and interaction, right? And in my mind, I see the metaverse as a place where you can show up anonymously or show up as yourself, and you can connect with people, be in the same room with people who may be thousands of miles away. And I see so much value in that because it almost like shrinks the world and it makes us feel like we are closer than we are. And I think there's power in that.
Wow.
And so we're in the early phases of Blimish. We're like in the research and development phases, which is really cool because I'm getting to learn and research just so many things and have conversations. Like since I've been in Paris since January, I've been traveling around Europe and a little bit around the Middle East to actually have real conversations with, psychologists and mental health entrepreneurs to really like feel their heart and get their understanding of what they've been through. Right. And that's kind of helping me to visualize what a helpful solution will actually look like. So we're still like chefing that up, if you will.
Right.
We're still cooking, but yeah, hopefully that answers a little bit
of the question. But how do you envision that solution to look like?
Yeah, 100%. So for me, I'll give you the vision of how I see. So the vision of the Blimish platform, right? I see someone coming to the platform for the first time, creating an avatar based on how they want their online identity to look, and then taking a series of assessments where they're able to analyze their current state of well-being, right? Not just mentally, but also physically, financially, spiritually, relationally, right? Because we're holistic human beings. And so I see Blimish as a platform where we're able to like show people what the status of their wellness is through their online avatar, and then give them almost like a wellness program, right? Of where like, hey, this is where you are now, this is where you want to be, this is what that avenue looks like. As a part of that process, we'll be able to bring in different psychologists, different trainers, coaches, mentors, and really helping someone to develop into the best version of themselves.
And do you have people signing up on this platform already, or?
So we have about 4,000 people on our wait list, but we're still trying to figure out the technology point, the technology aspect, because it's so expensive to build out a metaverse platform from scratch. And so we've been looking at developing partnerships, but it's just that's the biggest barrier right now, just figuring out how to build out this technology or figure out a way where we can kind of start this process without needing an entire metaverse platform.
Right. No, that's true, because I think we need that in the physical world more.
Yeah, facts.
I mean, it's really good that you're also thinking of, taking this to the metaverse, but I mean, it definitely applies to, our current reality as well outside of it. So whenever you start, I feel like 4,000 on the waiting list, and I feel like that can easily, just quadruple, because as soon as the word gets out, there are a lot of people, including I think both of us on the call, because mental health and problems that we face mentally, it's not a one-off, right? It's never a one-off. they
Right.
just come and go. You never even realize that they're deep rooted at a point where they keep coming up throughout your life, right? Again, you'll be triggered by different situations in different ways, and that's when you realize, oh shit, I still have this in me, you know?
Yeah, I need to work on that. Yeah.
Exactly. But I would also
Mhm.
want to know, and I'm really glad that you're touching on a point where you're talking about the struggles that you're facing with the project right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
in terms of building it physically. But I would
Yeah.
also want to understand, as an entrepreneur, man, it is not easy. Starting
Not at
something
all.
on your own, building a team, or even going
Yeah.
through those phases where you're talking to people, trying to validate your idea,
Yeah.
going out seeking funding.
Yeah.
These processes take a toll on you that sometimes people don't understand.
Yeah.
We're all waiting for the tabloids. We're all waiting for those success stories. We're all waiting for
Right.
those one night, like it's never like that. People go through hell to
Right.
get to a
Literally.
particular point. So how has
Literally.
it been for you? Because I do understand that you're recording your journey on LinkedIn as well, that I absolutely
A little
love.
bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so I would really want to, go deeper into that as well, in terms of how has the life of an entrepreneur impacted
Mhm.
you in terms of
Yeah.
mental health, physical, in terms of, just like the
Mhm.
struggles that you've seen now,
Yeah.
that have affected you more.
Yeah. I mean, it's been hard, right?
Mhm.
It's been very hard. And I was on a phone call with one of my best friends today, who's also an entrepreneur, and we
Yep.
just like sat on the phone with each other for an hour and just talking about some of the things that we're struggling with. And for me, I
Mhm.
think the biggest struggle that I'm seeing and dealing with is having this vision of where I should be, and then
Right.
having the reality of where I am and seeing that there's a
Mhm.
gap, right? And it's hard, right? Because my first instinct is to say, okay, you're not doing enough, you're not working hard enough. Like, how can you change? But I think
Mhm.
the real value comes in, like, it's leading with gratitude and like kind of switching that perspective and saying, okay, I'm not here or there. I need to do all of this. It's like, no, I'm grateful
Mhm.
for what I have in my hands right now. Right. I'm grateful for the
Wow, I love
opportunity
that.
to even be building out this Blimish platform, even though it's not what I wanted to be yet. And
Mhm.
that's a whole different mindset, right?
Wow. I love that mindset so much, man. No, seriously, I love it so much. No,
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, like I again, like it's a process. It is a process, and I'm saying that not as an entrepreneur, but as someone even in the daily work life, right? There's so
Yeah,
many things that
facts.
you need to go through.
Yeah.
Uh, it really matters how you speak to yourself, right?
That's
Whether
so
you
good.
are
Yeah.
showing gratitude to the world outside, that thank you for giving me what I
Yeah.
have right now, but you also need to be
Yeah.
grateful in terms of, I've got this. You did
Yeah.
what you did, and you were really good at it, and you can do this as well,
Yeah.
and
Right.
keep on building that confidence as well, on the go.
100%.
So yeah, it's a journey. It really is.
Yeah.
Oh man, but
Yeah.
since we're talking about your struggles as well, I would really want to understand, how do you cope with your struggles? Like, what are your coping mechanisms, and how did you even learn them? Because again,
Mhm.
it's not a one size fits all kind of attitude, but to each their own. So how did you
Yeah.
find what works for you?
Yeah. Just trial and error. Like one thing that works
Mhm.
for me is my spiritual practice, right? Like I'm a Christian, and so I
Mhm.
read the Bible, and I like looking at the Bible and trying to see like how I can relate to certain stories. And that really helps me a lot. But also having conversations with people. And I don't know if
Right.
this is a coping mechanism, but like I have maybe 4 or 5 like weekly or bi-weekly calls with some mentors. And
Amazing.
I feel like it's whenever I'm just able to vent and ask questions,
Mhm.
it helps me out a lot, and it kind of keeps me balanced, right? Because most of the time, entrepreneurs or just motivated individuals, they are the hardest on themselves, right? They
Very
so
true.
they
That is
have the highest
absolutely
standard for themselves, and
yep.
sometimes you just need people to kind of just bring you back to
Mhm.
earth and let you know like you're doing good,
Yes.
you know.
Mhm. Yeah. You
Yeah.
need to like have your tribe around you, man.
The
Otherwise,
tribe,
it's
exactly.
hard doing this alone. It's
That's it.
really tough. Very, very tough.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the tribe is super important.
Mhm.
People, man, I'm telling you, yeah,
But I would
it's been
also
a
want to
huge resource.
understand, Kristen,
Yeah.
because again, like I love that you talked about the spiritual practices as well. And
Yeah,
faith is very important. Their own. I
for
am a
sure.
Muslim as well, so I'm not
Yes.
super religious, but I do understand when it's my downtime, I really need to, go into my solitude, where I
So
really
true.
need to be with me,
Mm-hmm.
or the higher power in a sense, like have that connection, direct connection with regardless of, people around, because
Right.
yeah, it's very different, man. It is so, so different. Just trying to understand yourself and, being nice to yourself and being kind to yourself is so, so much important than, anything else.
Yeah.
Because it's how you treat yourself, then you can expect other people to treat you the same way, right? It's never about, oh yeah, I expect you to treat me like this and I treat myself like shit, basically.
Yeah, it doesn't, it can never happen like that, because like your outer world is a reflection of what's going on inside,
Exactly.
and so yeah.
Awesome. Last question from my side would be, Christian, there are many people, since the series is more catered towards people in their 20s. So I would really want to ask you, maybe also touching upon your journey in your 20s. Again, our entire life is full of trial and error, but I feel like our 20s and our teens do kind of have, a very certain, they do build up a foundation, strengthening the roots that we already have. And then we somehow keep building more character and habits and layers on top to, be the human that we are. So I would really want to ask you, like, what is your advice for people in their 20s who are, let's say, struggling with mental health or different challenges and struggles in life? Like, what do you have to say to them?
Yeah, I would say that whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're feeling emotionally, know that it's okay. It's okay to feel that, and that your life matters, right? I think everyone needs to understand that every day that they wake up is another opportunity for them to take a positive step forward, right? And one thing I've learned is that committing to a mental wellness journey is already a positive step forward, right? Like,
Very
just
true.
committing to
Very,
it
very
in your mind is a step forward.
Yes. No, oh man, that is so true. Like, I feel like even sometimes, like, we might know that we need help. I think the first step is to even acknowledge, okay, yeah, I need help. And the next step, which is sometimes even harder, is that, okay, I need help, but where do I go? Or how can I trust this person? Get help from. So yeah, I think it really is a process, but whoever is struggling out there, I hope that you do find help. And I hope that you find a tribe that can help you out and be your support system. So yeah.
Yeah, and know that you're not alone too. So whoever is in your tribe now, or close to your closest friend, be vulnerable.
Minutes, but
I love it.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
I hope you
you.
do amazingly well with Blimish. You take it to and achieve all the goals that you've set and envisioned.
Yes,
And
thank
fulfill bridge the gap that you have right now in your
Yeah.
head. Like, this is where I want to be, this is where I am. Bridge it, man. And I know you will.
Thank you.
So yeah. And I'm
appreciate
happy that you've got this tribe as well. 4,000 and plus, virtual and everywhere else.
Yeah,
So
I love that.
keep
And I hope
going,
to,
man.
and I hope to
Good
see you
luck.
soon.